I hope you got your painted pants on, cause you're about to do a lot of painting. Hi there, I'm Chris from CarsonsBazaar.com, and today we're going to be taking a look at painting Negan from the Walking Dead Here's Negan board game from Mantic Games. So, here's Negan. I think it's the fourth sculpted Negan I've got now, and this is a great one. Love the character coming through in this one, where you've got Lucille held above him, and then on his back you've got a bolt action rifle. So, and you've got your knife as well on this side, and a pistol. So he's armed to the teeth, and he's ready to kick some ass, really. So, for the man himself, we're going to have a good paint job. So I've undercoated the model using Mechanica Standard Grey. There's a video link below of me showing how to spray paint your models. And let's just get straight into it. So first thing I start with is the skin. Now I'm going to be doing a base coat of Rhinox hide, which is a nice deep brown tone, and that's going to give me a really good base there. So let me just focus that in. So just anywhere where there's skin, just gonna paint the whole thing in. So I've thinned the Rhinox hide down, but with the base paints you've got really strong pigment in them anyway, so chances are we're only going to be doing one coat of this one. Because from the looks of this, it is giving some really nice colour. Just getting his ear, making sure I get right in under the chin as well. If anything goes onto the clothing at this point, that's fine. And we'll be able to tidy that up, no problem. I'm also going to paint Lucille as well, base that in the Rhinox hide. Just do the whole thing, barbed wire as well, because we'll be picking that out later using a dry brush. At this point as well, we'll do any of the brown parts, like I'll do the stock of his gun, the holster, and for the knife as well as doing like the belt and the straps for the rifle. Okay, looks like I've got everything there. So I'm just going to leave that to dry, and then I'll continue on with the flesh after that. With the Rhinox hide dry, then gonna mix in some Besticore flesh in with the Rhinox hide on your palette, and about 70-30 mix favouring Rhinox hide, so we end up with quite a light chocolatey brown basically. This is gonna give me a nice gradual build for the flesh tone, and this is what's going to be in like the recesses as well, whereas the Rhinox hide is going to be more where like material meets the flesh. So when you're painting it, you just want to leave a little gap before you get like the sleeve, and that's just going to give a nice bit of shadow to that. I've thinned this paint out quite a bit, but again the base colour, the base paint inside of it is kind of still quite strong.
And I've got the fingers there.
And when it comes to painting the face here, again I'm just going to leave a little outline with the rhinox hide around where the skin meets the hair. So make sure you get into the eye sockets with this layer, because if you leave that as rhinox hide it'll just look a bit too dark. Okay, and then we'll leave that to dry. With that layer dried, then I'm going to add a bit more Bestigo flesh into some rhinox hide, and that's going to put it to about a 70-30 mix in favour of Bestigo flesh. So we've got a nice tanned skin tone on there. Again, I've thinned it down quite a bit. And we're just going to be painting in, again leaving just a little outline of that last layer, just to get that nice little transition. And also any like folds in the skin, so where you've got the muscle on his arm here, you're just going to leave like a little bit of the last layer in there, and that's just going to give a bit of definition. And same with on the fingers as well, just going to be hitting the tops of them basically, and that's going to leave a bit of shading between the fingers. Now this paint's quite thin because of the Bestigo flesh is kind of the dominant one in it, and the rhinox hide's been thinned out quite a bit. So we're going to be doing 2, maybe 3 layers depending on how thin you've got your paint. And then with the face, again we're just going to leave that little bit of outline around the hair. Right, and when that's dry, do your second layer of that, just like I say, because the paint being quite thin, and you'll want to do a second, maybe third, and then once they're done we'll be back with the next step. Now then, with that layer dried, we're ready to move on to just doing pure Bestigo flesh. So you want to thin it down as always. And then just like we did with the previous layers, we're basically going to be covering that last layer up, just leaving a little bit of an outline there. So just carefully just going over where we've already painted. Leaving a bit of outline on like the recesses and things again. I think the paint's a little bit too thick still, so just a little bit more water into your paint. And you're good to go. Okay, we're going to leave that to dry, and then I'm going to do another layer of that as well, just to get the colour a little bit bolder because it's quite thin. Okay, with the layers of Best to Go flesh dried, we're then going to go on to using a wash of Reichland Flesh Shade. We're just going to be putting this all over the skin, and it's going to help bring out some of the details and blend our painting in a bit better as well. So just a little bit on the brush, and start slapping it on. We don't want it to start pooling everywhere, so if you see it starting to pool up, just put your brush in it and move it around the model a bit. Then we'll just leave that to dry, and then we'll come back to do our highlight. So with the Reichland Flesh Shade dried, we're then going to do a highlight of Best to Go Flesh again. And with this one we're just using a small layer brush just to get a little bit of detail. And we're just going to be picking out the tops of the flesh. Good. Now for the face, just being really careful with the face, just getting the tops of the eyebrows. It's got some little wrinkles on the forehead. It's just a little line across there. Sorry, just knocked my lamp off the table here. So back to it. Getting just the bridge of the nose, top of the cheeks. Get his chin as well. Get right down the cheeks as well. I'll just catch the top lip. Get his ears. I'll do the jawline as well because that will just help separate. And that's it for painting the flesh on Negan. So I'm just going to leave that to dry, and we'll come back and we'll start work on the t-shirt, I guess, or the metal work, probably the metal work. Okay, with the flesh done, now I'm going to work on the metal pieces. So I'm going to be putting a base coat of Aberdeen black. I'm not going to bother putting any on the barbed wire around Lucille, just with how small that is. There's no point worrying about doing the black on there, because we can just bring that out with a dry brush later. Okay, with the black applied, then going to move on to doing the browns on the leather like straps and holsters and things. So using Gawthor brown, just get a little bit on the brush, and then just focusing on like the middle of the straps. We're just painting in there. Now I'm just going to let that dry, and I think we'll start on the shirt next. Okay, for doing the t-shirt, we're going to be doing what's called a cool white, which is a white that's built up from like greys and blues. Now, using Mechanicus Standard Grey as our base coat, our undercoat, it's going to give you a really good starting point. So from there I'm going to be using Ulthian Grey. Just load it onto my brush, and I'm just going to
paint it on. In fact, I'm going to change my brush. I'm going to use a small layer brush for this. I'm just going to paint it in, but I'm going to avoid the recesses. So in all the deep folds, you're going to have the Mechanica standard grey shown in there. So I'm just, like I say, I'm just going to be leaving the Mechanica standard grey shown in the recesses and the folds. So once I've done with that and I've done my second layer, I'll be back and I'll show you the result of that. Okay, with the Ulthuan Grey dried, I've done a couple of layers of it just to build the colour up on the front and the back. Now, next step is a 50-50 mix of white scar and Ulthuan Grey. And just like we did with the flesh, I'm going to paint it in again, and we're just going to leave a little bit of an outline of the previous layer. This is just going to steadily build up the white t-shirt, and it's going to look clean rather than like a warm white which is built up from browns. And it gives you more of a used, dirty looking white. Now, thinking of it on Negan is just that, you know, he's the boss. Although he gets his hands dirty, he's not the one who's gone out there on the front line really. So his clothes stay nice and clean. Whereas someone like Rick, yeah, I'd give him the dirty white, just because he's always there getting stuck in. Okay, now I'm just going to leave that to dry, and then we'll be back with the next step. Okay, with that dry, next step is just a pure white scar. So just load it up onto your brush, and now we're just picking out the highlights on the shirt. I'm using the small layer brush for this one, so I can get into a bit of the detail and not get paint everywhere. There we go. That's the t-shirt done. And now while we're using white, might as well just dot in the eyes now. So again, using a small layer brush, just gonna dot in the eyes. Gotta be very careful with this, otherwise you completely mess up the face. So if you're not confident in doing it, just don't do it. It's not a necessity to have. It's just I just like to do it on my models. So to get the other eye, with me being right-handed, just turn the model upside down and just bring it in. There. Okay, and now we're just going to leave the whites to dry, and then we'll do the jeans. Okay, to do the jeans, we're going to start off with Cantor Blue. And it's just a case of painting his legs in. Okay, I'm going to let this dry, and then I'm going to do another layer of Cantor blue just to deepen the colour up a little bit, and then I'll be back with you after that. For the next layer we're going to do a 50-50 mix of Altdorf Guard blue and Cantor blue. And using the small layer brush, just going to put in the next layer, kind of like what we've done with everything else. I'm just going to leave that little bit of an outline. Okay. Now we'll leave that to dry, and then we'll come back with the final stage for the jeans. Okay, the final step for the jeans, we're just going to make them look a little bit more worn. And to do that, we're going to use Longbeard Grey, which is a dry brush paint from Citadel. So you just want to get a little bit on your brush. And if it's a bit too much on there, just work it into the paper towel. Just checking it on my thumb there. Should be alright. So looking at places like around the knees, on the thighs, just going to add a little bit of the Longbeard Grey onto there. Just dragging down. And this is just the tips of the bristles that are running across the model, and that's just going to catch the raised areas. And the Longbeard Grey is going to give it a look of kind of like warm, lighter denim. So it doesn't take very long for the dry paints to actually dry on the model. It's pretty much as soon as you put it on, within seconds it's going to be done. Really good paints for that. So the next thing we're going to do is do the metal work. So we're going to be looking at the pistol, bits of the knife that we've pointed out, belt buckle, rifle, and then we're going to do the barbed wire on the seal as well. So I'm just going to get the paints ready and I'll be right back. So using lead belcher, we're just going to pick out all the little metal detail. So like I say, it's belt buckle, and I picked out bits on the knife, so the little, there's a pommel on the end there, and then just above the little holster for that. And we get the rifle, so we've got the barrel to do on there. We've also got the scope, and I noticed on the back of the stock there's a little raised edge on there, which I've got ready to be metal. Okay, then we've got the pistol. And for the handle of the pistol, the pistol grip, I'm leaving a little bit of black on the inside. That's just so it's, there's a little bit of detail shown on that. Okay, now to get the barbed wire, it's basically going to be a dry brush. Just get a little bit of paint on your brush, and very lightly we're just going to bring it down on the seal there. I want to avoid hitting any of the actual woodwork. little bit just above his hand there. So we're nearly done now. Next little step we're going to do, if you've done the whites of the eyes, we're just going to dot in the pupils. So just a little bit of Abaddon black, and very carefully just a little dot on each eye. And there we go. Now, I don't usually add any blood onto my survivors. It tends to just be the walkers that I add blood on. But since it's Lucille, I'm going to take a bit of blood for the blood god, and I'm going to add a little bit of blood effect on there. Just a bit on the brush. I'm just going to put a bit on the palette from me, just because I think there's a little bit too much on there. And just very lightly flicking. And you don't want to put too much blood on, because you can spoil the model very quickly by adding too much blood onto your model. It's very much a less is more sort of thing. So just little flicks, and it'll give you sort of like a blood spray where he's done someone's head in. Then all that's left is for you to base it. I've done a tutorial on basing models, which I'll link down below. It uses Astro Granite, which is a Citadel texture paint, which is one of my favourite ones to use, and it's one of the main ones I use on the Walking Dead models. All these techniques you can use to paint the other survivors from Here's Negan or Walking Dead All Out War. So, links down below for the other videos, and links to buy the paints that I've used in this video as well from CaucasianBazaar.com. Thank you.